In this video, we're going to start working on the track view, so on the view part of the model view controller pattern here. And so what I'm going to do here is then get back in the scripts folder and add a new C# script, which I'm going to call track view, like this. And I'm going to start edit it. Now, same thing, I'm also going to put it in the namespace beats, like this, and like that. And now in here, just gonna get rid of all this for now. And in here, what I know is that this component requires a few other components to work properly. So I'm gonna start adding the require component attribute and using a type of. And I know it requires a vertical, and I don't find the vertical simply because I'm not using the Unity Engine UI. So I'm going to add using Unity Engine UI first, and then I can now use a vertical layout group. And so this is the first thing that I want to specify. And I also wanted to use here, I know that it also requires a content size filter to work properly. So I'm going to add this so that whenever I add this component to any object, then it will automatically add those components if they're missing. And I know that it's also a component that has to be put on a UI object. So I'm also going to add one with rect transform, like this. So same thing again, just making sure that I'm going to have all the components and access to all the components that I need. Now, what I want to, the first thing I want to do here is then to reference the track, of course. And for now, I'm just going to make a direct reference to the track, and we'll see that later we want to have an indirect reference to the track. But there, I want to have a reference to the track. So I'm going to make a reference to a track object, which I'm going to call track, and it's going to be private, but it's going to be serializable. So we're going to use the serialize field attribute, and it's private because we don't want to have any other components start to mess with this member. Usually it's a good idea to just use private variables, and if you want to access it, then add some properties like get and set methods. What I also know is that I want to reference the prefabs that I'm going to instantiate, such as the left, up, down, right objects that I need to instantiate based on the data that I found in the track. So again, I'm going to do a rect transform. I know that these objects need to have a rect transform, so I'm just going to, instead of just referencing a game object, I'm going to reference a rect transform. So this allows me to make sure that the object that I put in has a rect transform component. And then I'm going to call this left, like this. And again, I'll use the serialize field attribute, and there I'm just going to do the same thing with right, up, and down, like that. And I also need to reference another one, which is going to be the reference to the empty spacer or divider, or you name it. I'm also going to make a reference to another rect transform, which is going to be the rect transform of the current object. I'm going to call this R transform. Now I'm going to start adding, I could use the awake method, but I'm not sure that the track view is going to be initialized on awake, and I want to be able to control whenever it is initialized. So I'm going to add a new public void method that I'm going to call init, and it's going to be initializable with a track. So that allows another object, another component to initialize this track view, giving it a track. And so I'm going to call this track, like this and like that. And there I'm going to add also the start message, and in there I'm going to start doing the init, and then I'm going to pass the track that I reference locally in the in this component. And in there, the first thing I need to do is say that our transform equals the transform of this object, but as a rect transform, like this. So I can now go back in the editor here, and I'm going to select the track view, and I'm going to add the component track view like this. And there it's got a reference to a track. So there we can see that even if I click on this here, this Unity will automatically show me the serialized objects that match the type here. So I'm going to choose this one here, and there we can see that we've got left, right, up, down, and empty. And so what I'm going to do here is then go into the prefabs, and I'm going to take one here, which I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to call it empty. And so in this object, what I'm going to do here is then simply deactivate the image component so that it doesn't show, but we keep the rect transform with the size, which is going to separate the other objects. And I'm also going to get rid of the up arrow here. So to do this properly, I'm just going to drag and drop this in the track view here, and then get rid of the up arrow. I'll say that it'll break the prefab instance. I'll say yes, and then I'll click apply to update this object here. And now in the track view, in the references here, what I'm going to do here is then drag and drop the down into the down, left into the left, and right into the right, and up into the up, and the empty into the empty reference, like this. And I'm now going to get rid of the prefabs that I had in the track view. So we now have everything we need to start populating the track view with the information that we've got from the track. And this is what we're going to be doing in the next video.